Gnasher.
Oh my God!
What is up, everybody? Savage Bernie here, bringing you a team deathmatch on Sandbar. Fun fact, if you haven't noticed already, Kaos Rorshaq and Chaos Poet are both in this lobby. And part of that inspired me to do this video. It's about the Gears of War community, especially the YouTubers in the community. So you've probably heard already that Black Tusk is inviting some YouTubers and some other people to the Black Tusk event, the Gears of War event at E3, which I think is super cool. And that got me thinking about the community as a whole. I saw Shadows sent a tweet out a day ago, I believe, or maybe it was today, about how he has grown so much in the past little bit, and about how the Gears of War community has really come together, and I think that's a great thing. I love to see this community grow, even in a time of what you could describe as drought. Still, the community comes together, rallies behind itself, and it keeps going regardless. So we've had a lot of tough times in this community, but as a whole, I think we're still just as strong as we've always been. We've had to be. We've all band together for the best, and that's been great. But we have to keep in mind that it's still going to take work. This community is like anything else. It takes work. It's a relationship. It's between us and Gears of War, for lack of a better way to put it. It doesn't necessarily mean that just because there's a new Gears of War coming out that we're going to be okay, that the community is going to grow. We have to grow the community. So how can we do that? Well, of course, the best way is to support content creators, but another way is just by playing the game. And by reaching out to Black Tusk, telling them, hey, you know, I really liked this. I didn't like this. Take that into consideration. They've done a really good job so far of opening it up to the community, having the community come together to decide a lot about the next Gears of War, which is great. It's been awesome, and I've tried to support that as much as I can and participate as much as I can. But there comes a point where it comes down to us. We've kept Gears of War alive. Not Black Tusk, not Epic, not Microsoft. We have kept Gears of War alive. So pat yourself on the back. Take a minute, give yourself a nice little pat on the back, and let's continue into what else we can do. Because I don't know about you guys, but I want to see more. I love seeing commentaries like I do, where it's not a live comm. It's not necessarily me just talking about a random subject. I pick a subject, usually pertaining to Gears of War, gaming as a whole, and I talk about it. I give my opinions, my views, and I want to see more of that kind of video. That's the kind of video that I enjoy watching. A video I don't have to invest myself in fully, but I can if I'd like to. Now, I don't mean creation-wise. There, I mean viewership-wise. So I can watch a video that's a commentary like this, and you can just have it playing in the background. You don't need to have it watching it, making sure. Yeah, I like to put little tidbits in here every once in a while for you to look at, but you don't have to. And a lot of that has really died out. The only kind of commentary that I see that's like this anymore are, well, mine. I don't see any in the mainstream Gears of War universe. That's not necessarily a bad thing. That just means there's a lack of this kind of content, which means there's a void to fill, and I'm happy to fill it. There's been a huge rise in things like Let's Play Gears of War, just gameplays of Gears of War, competitive especially, and with different series like Road to 100 and live comms. And these are great. These fill a void that we need, but they don't fill all of the voids, and so we have to support all the content creators. I like to support the competitive and the commentaries like this, not necessarily the live comms. Nothing wrong with live comms. They're just not really what I like to listen to. But let's get off of this horse, because we could talk about content and the types of content all day, but that's a little boring. Let's talk about, instead, why people got invited to E3. Why I think they got invited anyway. So yeah, of course, they're going to unveil Gears of War news at E3, but it must be pretty big if they're inviting people to view it. If it was just a teaser trailer or just a trailer, I doubt they would have people come. Maybe they're going to show off gameplay. Maybe they're going to announce that the game's going to be released this Christmas season. It could be huge news, or it could be nothing. We could be blowing it all out of proportion, but I don't think they would make this kind of public statement of, hey, come check out our stuff, if they weren't going to have something to check out. I can watch a trailer at home. What I can't watch is the biggest and best YouTubers, the biggest and best community members go and take on the next Gears of War. I can't watch that from my living room. So I think they're going to make something big, something bold, something better. But what? Is it going to be remastered, or is it going to be Gears of War 4? They've announced Remastered Edition, which is great, and we've seen some leaked footage. Could we see more footage for it? It depends on the route Black Tusk wants to take, and here's why I say that. If Black Tusk decides that they want to take more of a, look at this is, yes, it's a remastered, but it is also its own game, which they need to do, then it'll be the remastered edition. But if they take more of the approach that Judgment took, it had very little advertising. I mean, I remember getting so excited about Gears of War 3, and there was huge build-up, and there was huge events, and a midnight launch. Midnight launch of Gears of War Judgment was just sad that I went to. So I feel like they want to recapture some of that spunk that came from the Gears of War 3 release. So if it is remastered edition, and they are trying to rekindle the spirit, what does that mean for Gears of War 4? Because we don't want it just to fall by the wayside. Gears of War 1 remastered is great, but we're going to need Gears of War 4 eventually. We need to progress within this universe. We can't just keep going back to the same things. Well, I think the answer's pretty obvious. They haven't been working on it. Not that it's just fallen by the wayside, but that their attention's been focused on this remastered. The whole time. We've been bamboozled.
Boom, baby!
And I mean that in the best way possible. I mean that they decided that they needed this in the community. That means that they want to take even more time with Gears of War 4. And that's exactly what I wanted. I've talked about it so many times that what we need is for it to take time, that we don't mind waiting as long as it's good. If you make it worthwhile, we'll wait for it for forever. I will wait for years, kind of like what Bethesda did with Doom. There hasn't been a new Doom in forever, but they announced it and everyone's excited. That's what Black Tusk wants. They want not a game. That's what Black Tusk wants. They don't want a game that just kind of is. They don't want to release Gears of War yearly. That would not be good for the franchise. That wouldn't be good for the community. We're not that type of community. We never have been. But we are a very patient community, and they've learned that through being with the community and talking to the community. They've learned that we are willing to wait for quality. So again, hats off to you, community. Way to be stellar. It has been one hell of a ride for this remastered collection. It's been one hell of a ride for Gears of War 4. And we're really trusting Black Tusk Studio. They've done a lot to build up this trust within the community. They're not just going to throw that away. They're not just going to say, you know what, let's just get a game out. As long as we just get a game out, everyone will be happy. No, they want it to be the best. Not because they want to make money, but because they believe in Gears of War, and they like Gears of War. Rod Ferguson came to work on it. They've hired Strangulate. They've done so many things to prove to us that it's more than just a game to them. And for once, since Epic kind of lost focus on Gears of War, we are going to get the game that we deserve. We're going to get the game that hopefully we've been waiting for since Gears of War 3. Actually, I'd say we've been waiting on it since Gears of War Judgment came out, because everyone played Judgment and was like, what is this? But they've got this, and we just have to trust them. We just have to trust. We just have to trust. We just have to trust. And there's where the problem comes. Can we trust Black Tusk? They've proven themselves so far, but Epic also proved themselves. It's all in the little details. Epic started handing things off to People Can Fly. There wasn't as much hype involved. There didn't seem to be as much money put into production. And those are all reasons that Judgment didn't do as well as it could have. Time wasn't spent on it. 2 years for a game that'll live up to Gears of War 3, the best-selling game in the franchise? It'd be difficult to do in 2 years. Especially when you have to create an entirely new storyline. Oh wait, you don't. You just recycle the old one from a different point of view. Sorry. I have a love-hate relationship with Gears of War Judgment. As do most of us, I believe. So on the note of Black Tusk, what do we look for? How do we know what they're doing? How do we know that they're doing it right? How do we know that what we're seeing is what we need to be seeing? And the answer's pretty simple. You look for the little things. It's like any relationship. When the little things start to go, that's when you can tell they're a problem. So first off, some little things that happened with Judgment is that Epic stopped being involved. They were never super involved in the community, but they managed to at least show that they cared, that there was a presence. With Judgment, that went out the window. We didn't hear about it at all. We heard through other sources, but Epic never reached out to the community, not like Black Tusk has done. We also have to look for a lack of information. They haven't released anything yet, which means that we don't need to necessarily look for something right now, but when they start releasing information, it should start coming in a steady stream. That's the way to do things whenever you have something all worked out. It's whenever you haven't finished something. It's when something's half-assed that you start to get less information. Things get more vague. So what do? Well, first off, we hold Black Tusk responsible. We don't let the small things fall through the crack. It's just as much our dilemma as it is theirs. We can't just say, alright, yeah, well, good luck. We have to make sure that things are going okay. We have to make sure that it's going smoothly, that everything's all worked out, everything's good to go. How do we do that? Whenever they start falling through the cracks, say, hey, Black Tusk, what's going on? And I'm not saying that they will. I'm saying that if it happens, we need to be prepared. We weren't prepared last time. Now we will be. We're going to be so prepared it's going to blow their minds. They're not allowed to fall through the cracks, not without our permission. This is as much our game as it is theirs. They've spent too much time, and we've waited too long for either one of us to not be allowed to have this. We need this game as much as they need this game. If this game flops, we all go down. It's not us, it's not them. Epic was okay with a flop. They had plenty of other credits to their name. Black Tusk does not. This is their one and only project, at least as far as we know, is Gears of War. So it better be amazing. They owe it to themselves and to us to make it amazing. So we have to hold them accountable, yes, but we also have to be accountable for holding them accountable. It's confusing, but basically we can't just ignore the problems anymore. If there are problems, they have to be addressed. Like any other relationship, they have to be addressed. And when it comes time for the game to come out, when it comes time for us to band together as a community, that is when we make sure that it's taken care of. That's when we make sure that all the YouTubers weren't just blinded by the amazingness that was Black Tusk Studios. That's when we make sure that it's not just in our head, that it truly is the Gears of War that we've been waiting for. This is when we make sure, without a doubt, that this is the next Gears of War. Anyway, guys, I've been Savage Bernie, and let me know what you think. What kind of content do you like? What do you think of what's going to happen at E3? I can talk a lot, but you guys may not be able to. This might be your platform to do so. So let me know. Let the world know in the comment section. Anyway, I've been Savage Bernie, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace.
You are now watching the throne. Don't let me get in my zone. Don't let me get in my zone. Don't let me get in my zone. These other niggas is lying, acting like the summer ain't mine.